Karen had this obsession with shortcuts. Despite having perfectly paved HOA streets to drive on, she constantly cut across my ranch lawn with her SUV. At first, it was little things. Tire marks in the grass, broken sprinkler heads. But soon it got worse. One morning, I came out to find a fresh trench carved across my property where her tires had dug in after a rainstorm. My flower beds were crushed, the sod ripped apart. I had just spent thousands landscaping that area, and in one drive-by, she'd destroyed it. I walked over to her house and knocked on the door. She answered, fake smile plastered on her face. "Karen," I said, trying to stay calm. "You need to stop driving across my property. It's private land." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, it's just grass. Besides, it's faster than going around the block." "You're being dramatic." "It's trespassing," I corrected. "Do it again, and I'll have to take action." She smirked. "What are you gonna do? Sue me over a little grass?" I didn't answer. I just walked away. But in my head, I was already planning. That weekend, I went to work. With the help of a buddy who runs a fabrication shop, I had a set of heavy-duty steel bollards made. Thick, reinforced posts, painted green to blend in with the lawn. We dug deep holes, filled them with concrete, and installed the bollards in a neat row exactly where Karen always cut through. By Sunday evening, they were set. From a distance, they looked harmless, like decorative posts, but they weren't moving for anything less than a tank. The next morning, I didn't even have to wait long. I heard the familiar rumble of Karen's SUV as she barreled across my lawn, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. She was mid-laugh when, bang, her bumper slammed straight into the first bollard. The sound of metal crunching against steel echoed across the neighborhood. Her SUV lurched forward, airbags deploying, horn blaring. She sat there stunned, coffee splattered all over her windshield. I walked out onto the porch, sipping my own cup, and waved. "Morning, Karen," I called. "Looks like you found my property line." She stumbled out of the car, red-faced and screaming. "You set a trap. This is illegal. You're going to pay for my damages." I calmly pulled out my phone and pointed at the bright red "No Trespassing" signs I'd posted next to the bollards. "Actually, Karen, you're trespassing. These are safety barriers, perfectly legal on private land. If anything, I should thank you for testing how strong they are." The cops arrived within minutes. Karen had called 911, shrieking about criminal traps. When the officers showed up, I handed them the paperwork. Property survey, pictures of the destroyed lawn, receipts for the bollards. The officer looked at Karen. "Ma'am, he warned you. This is private land. You caused your own damage." Her jaw dropped. But he can't just put steel poles in his yard." The cop smirked. "On his land? He absolutely can." Her insurance refused to pay, calling it an at-fault collision. The HOA refused to help, embarrassed that their president had wrecked her car in such a public way. Karen ended up shelling out nearly $12,000 to repair her SUV. Meanwhile, my lawn has never looked better. No more tire marks, no more trenches. Just a neat row of bollards standing guard. Now, whenever Karen drives by, on the actual road like everyone else, she shoots me the dirtiest look imaginable. But she doesn't dare cut across my property again. Turns out, nothing teaches a lesson like steel and concrete. Last year, I had to spend 6 months overseas for work. Before leaving, I made sure everything was secured, fences repaired, and cattle tended to. I had a ranch hand checking in weekly. Everything was in order. But when I returned, I didn't recognize my own land. Where my fields once stretched, there were rows of cookie-cutter houses, sidewalks, streetlights, driveways, and bright banners that read, "Welcome to Oak Ridge Estates, Phase 2. 138 brand new homes, built directly on my property." I nearly ran my truck off the road. I stormed straight to the HOA clubhouse, where Karen, the president, was sipping iced tea like a queen on her throne. "You've got 10 seconds to explain why there are houses on my land," I growled. Karen smiled sweetly. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. The developer decided to expand, and your ranch land was perfect. Don't worry, You'll be compensated once the sales finalize. My blood boiled. You built on MY property without consent. That's trespass, fraud, and theft. Karen laughed. You weren't using it. Now families will enjoy it. You should be thanking us. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just walked out because I knew something she didn't. See, the developer who originally built their subdivision? I'd gone to school with the CEO. And while the HOA thought they were cozy with him, they forgot one important detail. Their contracts only covered the lots already sold. They had zero rights to expand without purchasing new land. And they hadn't purchased mine, which meant every one of those 138 houses was sitting illegally on my ranch. I called the CEO. Hey, you might want to check your records, I told him, because your company just built phase 2 on land I still own. There was silence on the other end of the line, followed by a panicked, "What?" I sent him the deed, the surveys, and the aerial photos. Within hours, his legal team descended on the HOA like a pack of wolves. Turns out, the HOA board had forged documents claiming they had development rights. The contractor never verified ownership, they just built. That single mistake triggered one of the biggest lawsuits in county history. The HOA was sued for fraud. The developer sued them for damages. Homebuyers sued them for selling illegal lots. And me? I sued for land theft. In the end, the HOA was completely bankrupted. Karen and her board were personally liable for millions. Their homes were seized, their assets drained, and their reputations destroyed. As for the 138 new houses, the county condemned them. Some were bulldozed, others sat empty, rotting shells of a failed scam. My ranch hand and I tore down the cheap sidewalks and fences, and I reclaimed my land. Today, when I drive past that part of my ranch, it's peaceful again, just wide, open fields. A few remnants of driveways poke through the grass like scars, reminders of what Karen and her HOA tried to steal. They thought they could take my land while I was away. Instead, they lost everything, while I gained one of the most ironclad property rights cases in county history. My ranch stood long before their HOA, and it'll still be here long after they're gone.